What about this? What about that?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What about that? What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this?
What about that? What about that? About that? What about this? About this? About this?
What about that? 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 What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this?
What about that? About that? About that? What about this? About this?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What about that? What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this?
What about that? About that? About that? About that? What about this? About this?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What about that? What about this? What about this? What about this?
What about this?
What about that? What about that? What about
About
that? What
that?
about
About
that?
that? About that? About that? And we are back. Peace, boat, and welcome back to another edition of the Proper the Thought series right here on the old T.P.O.T. YouTube page. I'm your host X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why y'all black asses are here tonight. Very special show tonight, man. This is actually a meaningful show because we're going to talk about the beginning of T.P.O.T. We're going to talk about little Hadiya Pendleton. And we're going to talk about some of the violence, the unnecessary violence and ridiculousness of the violence that takes place in certain pockets of black society. So this is going to be a pretty good show. It's going to be serious. You know, ain't going to be no BS tonight. All right? No BS tonight. But before we get started, you know, I always start the show off with thanking you, good folk, for your like, your shares, your views, your subs, and of course, your hard-earned pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, and 50-cent pieces. Because I realize, man, you don't have to do it, man. You don't have to watch these damn videos. You don't have to sub to this channel. You don't have to like or share. And you definitely don't have to drop your hard-earned coins on this platform. But you good folk choose to do so, man. Night after night, week after week, you are here when you can be anywhere. And I want you good folk to know, man, that I don't take you lightly, man. I never have and I never will. You got my word on that. I'm humbled. I'm honored. I'm appreciative, man. But most importantly, I'm thankful to all you good folk. All right. All right. So let's get at it. And like I said, man, tonight, I mean, we're gonna go into it, man. We're gonna get into the weeds, so to speak, man. And tonight y'all gonna find out, how all of this started. Uh I should have got some of the old members of T.P.O.T, but I didn't feel like gathering everybody, so I'll just kind of tell y'all about them and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, man, tonight, man, you're gonna get a chance, man, to figure out how T.P.O.T came about, how we started, man, how we got into doing this shit, But we're gonna be talking about a little Hadiya Pendleton to start off with, because for the most part, it was because of her that got this thing going. I talked to my daughter today, and like I've told y'all before, little Hadiya, man, reminded me so much of my daughter because they were like the same age. And I was telling her today that I'm doing something tonight that that inspired this whole thing, this whole T.P.O.T thing. I said, and the reason why it came about was because there was this little girl that reminded me of you. And she was like, "Oh, Dad, you always say stuff like that." I'm like, "Well, God damn it, I mean it." She reminded me of you, and her story stuck with me. So tonight I'm going to be talking about it. So I think my baby, because that's my baby. She's 24, and she's like she's younger than my other kids. So by the time I had her, I was a lot better off. I was an older guy, a lot more experience, made a lot more money. So, her life was a little different than her older siblings because, I was just better off financially. I was more mature, better off mentally and whatnot. So, she probably got the best of me, because at the time that she came about, I mean, her nearest sibling is like 8 years, so by the time she was, by the time she was 10, all her other brothers and sisters were already, out on their own and grown. So, she pretty much had me to herself. So, yeah, she had me to herself. The other ones never got that, because they were all like little at the same time. So, but I don't want to ramble on about what the hell I was doing. But yeah, tonight, man, y'all going to learn a few things, man, about the old T.P.O.T YouTube page and the old T.P.O.T in itself. But before we get started, y'all know we always start the show off with what I think is. And what's good, brother Free Zone, brother H.U.ism, and brother DeMac the Trucker, man. I see you brothers up there, man. Y'all know we always start the show off with I think this is y'all favorite part of the show, man. I really do. Something we call the old mama of the day. These old mamas. Yes, time for the old mama of the day, because y'all know we never freaking run out. We will never run out. Ever run out of these old mamas. We just won't. But today's old mama hails from New Jersey. And it says here, woman from New Jersey accused of killing her daughters in Arizona. There's the two little tykes there. A woman from New Jersey has been charged with murdering her two daughters by drugging them at a home in Phoenix, police said. Retta Renee Cruz, a 35-year-old woman originally from Pleasantville, was charged Tuesday in Phoenix with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of 4-year-old Royal McIntyre and 9-year-old Aaliyah McIntyre, the Arizona Republic reported. The girls were discovered dead in a bed on September 8th, with no apparent signs of trauma, but arrest records obtained by the newspaper suggest Cruz used medications to sedate and overdose her young daughters. A prescribed medication that matched other pills in a bottle partially filled with an unknown liquid was discovered near the girls' mouths, and a prescription bottle of oxycodone was also found in their room, records show. Cruz was found nude inside the residence with multiple self-inflicted stab wounds and lacerations. A knife was also discovered nearby, authorities said. A man whose name was redacted in arrest records told the investigators Cruz was upset over a recent court hearing in which she was set to lose custody of one of her daughters, the Arizona Republic reported. Isn't that always the goddamn thing, man? These old mamas, they such a ridiculous, irresponsible mothers that they have a tendency to lose custody of the damn kids. And once they find out they got to give the kid up, the first thing they want to do is kill the kid. That lets you know how selfish these old mamas are, because they would rather the baby be dead instead of the father having it, even when he's won custody of the child legally, legitimately, fair and square. They would rather the child be dead than be with their father. Isn't that something? And not only that, you see how they said she had self-inflicted wounds. They always are successful killing the kid, but somehow killing themselves. They fail at that somehow. Amazing. But we continue. The man told cops Cruz believed both girls had COVID-19, prompting her to isolate them and treat them with medication to help them sleep, records show. Cruz, who was hospitalized after her daughters were found dead, was arrested following her release Tuesday, KVVU reported. Investigators are still awaiting toxicology tests on the girls, the station reported. They were found facing each other in bed with their arms around each other, as though they had been intentionally placed in that position, cops wrote in a probable cause statement. Aaliyah's father, Kevin Maddox, who lives in Millville, New Jersey, had custody of the 9-year-old girl, his brother told the press of Atlantic City. So the brother already had custody of one of the kids. The brother had custody of one of the kids, and I guess the other child, she was about to lose that child too. I mean, looking at this old mama, she's obviously a freaking insane lunatic, obviously. I mean, she's obviously a lunatic. All right, she looks like Johnny Blaze, you know, the fiery guy from Fantastic Four, with the hair and all. Well, we continue. Maddox's brother, Terrence Ridgway, said Maddox was unable to reach Cruz for nearly 2 weeks while Aaliyah was with her in Arizona. The pair had been mired in a custody battle over the girl, the newspaper reported. My whole family is at a loss for words because Kevin was going to court all this time and winning all these cases, Ridgway told the newspaper, but nobody ever took the baby out of her custody. He was following the court rules. We thought the fighting was over because he won custody, but now we have to fight for justice. An online fundraiser was set up by Royal's biological father, Michael Coleman, said he moved to Arizona with Cruz for spiritual reasons before finding his 2 angels dead last week. Unfortunately, I came home to a devastating situation where my daughters were deceased and their mother critically injured. The website reads, at this point, there are still more questions than answers. Cruz, meanwhile, remains held on $2 million bond, and her preliminary hearing has been set. Well, here's the old lunatic mama here, y'all. lost custody of the babies, hauled ass with them down to freaking Arizona with some other dude, takes them away from their fathers, all the way to hell down there, just to freaking kill them. And then after she kills them, she lays them in some position to make them look like they're hugging each other, while she goes off in another room, strips butt naked, and feigns killing herself. Well, I tell you, man, I will never run out of these stories, man. I will never run out of these stories. Never. Why do you brothers keep climbing on top of these lunatics? Why do you do it? Continuously climbing on top of these lunatics. And these old mamas continue to kill these babies. And get in their damn mugshot, man, and look like nothing's going on. Not a care in the freaking world. Goddamn shame, boy. But that is our old mama of the day. So we're going to go ahead, man, and move it along. Like I said, man, this young lady here, man, Hadiya Pendleton is her name. And she was killed in 2013. Killed by these two dudes, these two idiots, these two degenerates who were just shooting haphazardly in some stupid gang war shit that she didn't have anything to do with. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. But somehow she ends up dead. Somehow she ends up dead. So let me give y'all a little glimpse of the story. So I do have it here. See if I can get it to. Shit won't let me goddamn rewind it for some reason. What the hell's going on here? Hate this kind of shit. Now, this guy y'all are looking at here, I believe he was the getaway driver, not the shooter. But he did get 42 years. I bet you he had wish he hadn't drove there that day. I bet you he wishes he hadn't drove that day. The worst car ride he's ever taken. I'm sure. Because driving his boy cost him 42 years of his life. And this shit will not let me rewind this shit, y'all. I don't know what the hell's going on. Okay, here we go. Fair use, goddammit, fair use. I think we got it now, y'all.
The parents of Hadiya Pendleton felt that they finally received their last piece of justice when Kenneth Williams was sentenced to 42 years in prison for the murder of their 15-year-old daughter 8 years ago.
I'm going to sleep peacefully tonight knowing that justice has finally been received.
In 2018, Williams was found guilty of first-degree murder. A day before the person who pulled the trigger, Mikhail Ward, was also found guilty. Hadiya's mother addressed the court before the judge handed down her sentence.
She did not deserve what you did. You and Mikhail did. We didn't deserve it.
Deep sadness to hear The hurt, the pain in y'all voice is directed to me.
Williams, who did not appear on camera during his sentencing, represented himself, and while he offered condolences, he did not take responsibility for his part in her murder.
I cannot take responsibility for something that I'm not. I had.
He represented himself. I would love to get that tape. I would love to get the tape of this damn Negro representing himself. Let's just listen to the guy who represented himself on a murder charge.
I had no intent, no active participation, no inactive participation, no awareness of.
Everything he had to say to me just really kind of went on deaf ears. Just go do your time, and we're going to do ours.
You murdered Hadiya, or you had a part to do with it, and justice has now prevailed.
Did y'all hear this guy?
I am going to jail on my property.
Did y'all hear this guy who represented himself? I can just imagine how that went. Yeah, I can just imagine how it went. He represented himself. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But let's go to another story. Now here her mom is again. And this story talks about how gun violence claimed Chicago teen Hadiya Pendleton's life. Her mom is fighting back. Says here that Jay-Z and the NFL have been teaming up to release PSAs as part of a social justice initiative announced last summer. A new video featuring Pendleton's mom is calling for unity. Now, like I said, Hadiya Pendleton was a 15-year-old sophomore when she got the opportunity of a lifetime. Her majorette squad from Chicago High School, King College Prep, was selected to perform at President Barack Obama's second inauguration festivities in 2013. Less than 3 weeks later, First Lady Michelle Obama would be grieving for Pendleton at her funeral. The fatal shooting of the promising honor student sparked outrage in her hometown and became the symbol of a larger conversation on the scourge of gun violence. She was here in Washington with her classmates performing for her country at my inauguration, President Obama said in his State of the Union speech that year, in which he remembered Pendleton. And a week later, she was shot and killed in a Chicago park after school, just a mile away from my house. Police said Pendleton was an innocent bystander, caught in the crossfire of a gang feud on the South Side. Yet another shooting that exposed an underlying daily trauma that still affects the city's residents. 7 years after her death, the teen is now the subject of the latest public service announcement from Team Rock, the philanthropic arm of Jay-Z's entertainment company and the NFL. I mean, it's just crazy, man. You hear this kind of stuff, right? And you wonder, man, because let's be honest, right? I often talk about fair trade, right? Now, this girl had a bright future. She had a bright future. She was an honor student. She did well in school. And from what I understand, she was often a kid who spoke about the violence and the shootings and the killings and all the kind of stuff that takes place in the city that she lives in. If she was alive today, she would probably be about 25 right now. And who knows what this girl would have became. Now, nothing's guaranteed, but she had promise. She had a lot ahead of her, man. She had her whole life ahead of her. But now she's gone. And what are we left with? Two fools who wouldn't have amounted to anything. These Negroes wasn't going to amount to anything, obviously. Because if they hadn't killed her, they probably would have killed someone else. Maybe multiple people. They amounted to what they amounted to. They had hit their plateau. These Negroes wasn't going to amount to shit. And they would have ended up right where they are now, regardless. So somebody like her, gone. But they're still here. Being supported by taxpayers, by the way. Because those of you who live in the state of Illinois, your tax dollars are paying for their food, for their water, for their housing, for whatever programming or counseling they're getting in there. The people of Illinois is paying for that. Yeah, you guys are paying for that. So it's not a fair trade. It's not a fair exchange. By no stretch of the imagination. Now, like I said, when this happened in 2013, at the time, I mean, I was into media, because I've been doing, voiceover work and radio work for a long time, man, ever since about, 2011. And I was always into videotaping and all that kind of shit. So I've been at this media shit for a while, man. I've been doing it shit. I think it goes all the way back to probably 2009. I used to be the dude that walked around with the big giant video camera, taping everybody and shit. The video camera that took the VCR tapes and shit. The big motherfucker. Motherfuckers like the size of a VCR, walking around with it on your shoulder. I used to be that guy. And when we moved because we lived in Hudson Valley for a while, like for quite some time. That's where we moved from before we came down here. And my wife had bought me a little digital camera, man. She had bought me a little digital camera for a present one time. And it was a nice little camera, man. It was little, but it was very nice. It took good pictures. It did all the kind of stuff, but it was pretty basic. It didn't have all the bells and whistles on it. And at the time, when I read about this story, man, because I basically read about the stuff that I kind of gave y'all a quick synopsis on tonight. And I don't know, man. It was just something about this girl. When I saw her picture, she reminded me of my daughter. She was like the same age as my daughter. And it just seemed like no one cared. It just seemed like shit like this was happening in a lot of different major cities, and no one was really talking about it, especially us black folk. We were not discussing it. We were discussing everything else, but we weren't discussing the violence that was killing little girls like this, honor students like this, girls who had just performed for the president. girls who never weren't in trouble, girls that weren't knocked up with some fool's baby. And I don't know, man. And like I said, she reminded me so much of my daughter that I just started talking about this kind of stuff. And that was like the beginning of T.P.O.T. That was like the start of it, man. That was like the literal start of the whole T.P.O.T. thing. So of course, I started investing more money in camera equipment and computers and shit like that. And it's crazy because so many people, man, have come through T.P.O.T. Y'all have no idea, man. So many different people, man. So many different people. Like my little man, my nephew, little shorty. He was employed by me when he was about 5 years old. I mean, he's 15 now. And when he was 5 years old, he was like one of the original members of T.P.O.T. Because he would do like, he would do little voiceovers for me. And, I would put his voice to music and all that kind of stuff. If y'all look at some of my old stuff and y'all hear this little voice saying T.P.O.T., open your mind, that was Shorty when he was like 5. He was like the first original member of T.P.O.T. My man, little shorty, like I said, he's 15 now, he's a big old shit, man. He's damn near my height now, But yeah, he was one of the original members of T.P.O.T. And he used to be with me a lot. Like I said, he used to do a lot of recordings for me and, a lot of intros and stuff like that for me. Like I said, you go back some of my old stuff. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can pull some of that stuff up. Let me see. I'll take this down for now. Let me see. Cause I gotta dig in the crates for that kind of stuff. I gotta dig in the crates. Let me see. Yeah, I gotta dig in the crates. Yeah, cause I'm taking y'all back, man. I'm gonna walk y'all down memory lane tonight. So if you don't like old nostalgic shit, now's the time to leave. Now's the time to leave if you don't like old nostalgic shit. Now's the time to bounce, folks. Because it's about to get old and nostalgic up in here. Yeah, it's about to get old and nostalgic. Old and nostalgic. Let me see if I could pull some of this stuff up. Yeah, we're about to get old and nostalgic, y'all. Old and nostalgic. Because what a lot of you don't know about this whole T.P.O.T. thing is that, like I said, man, Hadiya Pendleton kind of kicked it all off, man. That's what got me involved in the video aspect of it. I was always into, like doing voiceovers and stuff like that, because, my wife is she's a beautician and an esthetician and stuff now, but she's been doing that for like ever since I met her. And I used to do voiceover work for her commercials for her website, for people that she worked with. I had a few voiceover commercials that appeared on many radio stations in New York. If you remember some of the old radio commercials, especially in the Hudson Valley, my voice is easily recognizable on some of those old commercials. So, I've always been, like into voiceover work and doing this shit. I've been doing it for a very, very long time. Very long time. Very long, long time. But I wasn't really I was into recording things, but I wasn't into it the way I am now. I mean, I just wasn't, man. I wasn't into it the way I am now. And then I got into radio, serious radio, actually working in a real live radio booth. I was doing that for quite a few years, and I dipped and dabbed, in some video here and there, but it's way more serious than it's way more serious now than it was then. As a matter of fact, I will show y'all some stuff. Let me bring that down first. We'll go here. All right. Go to my page here. All right. Now, here is some of my old stuff dated all the way back to 2015. And if you look here, right? Here you can see, I'll blow it up for y'all. Blow it up for you Negroes. See what I'm talking about. Here you can see this video here. I think this was the first video I ever posted. Yes, this is the first video that I've ever posted. And I did this in November of 2015. And this one is called It's the Black Man's Fault. Now, this video is about Kamani Gray, Eric Garner, Michael Brown, and a few others. Now, I went to all these guys' rallies, y'all. All these guys you see up here, Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Kamani Gray. Guess what? I was at their rallies. Yeah, I was there. Me and the freaking T.P.O.T. team in 2015. And then I did another one about, I don't know if y'all remember Sean Bell from New York City. He was shot multiple times, just like, God, what was, Abner Diallo was shot multiple times and killed by NYPD. And I actually did a video on that. That was back in 2015. And then, of course, Dr. Umar was one of the third ones I put up, because before this, I actually used to make videos, right? And I would put them on Facebook. Yeah, I would put them on Facebook. Because I didn't have this, I actually didn't start my own YouTube page until I started working at the radio station. I didn't have my own YouTube page at all. Now, I used to manage some of the media for the radio station, but I didn't have any of my own stuff, right? So while managing their social media stuff, I said, what the hell? Let me start my own YouTube page. And that's where it all started, y'all. I mean, and even back then, you go back 2015, you see Sister Shahrazad Ali, you see Dr. Umar. And look, there's another video here that says social media is not socializing, like the one I just did a couple weeks ago. So even back in 2015, Negroes, I was saying that. Yeah, I was saying that back in 2015, that social media is not socializing. And here, this is actually excerpts. As a matter of fact, I wonder if I should be able to make this, when I hit this, will it share? Yeah. Let me see if I can play it. This is actually, oh no, it's not sharing. Shit. In fact, I'll bring this down. Let's remove this. Let's do this. Let's see. Because I want to show y'all this one too. This here, this particular video is actually excerpts from the booth, right? And this is when I was working in the booth, people actually would come in, and the people that you're looking at here, one of these ladies is the president of the NAACP chapter in North Carolina, and the other lady is the president of the Black Women's Political Caucus. So, I mean, I've been talking to people, man, of power and influence for quite some time, y'all, like a long time ago. All right. I mean, you go all the way back to 2015. These people I used to actually have inside the booth. It wasn't like this YouTube shit. I mean, you actually got to sit down, talk with the people, you know, chop it down with them, shake their hand, shoot the shit with them before the show, shoot the shit with them after the show. So this kind of stuff, this is what I did when I worked in the booth. Let me see. See what else I got up here. Because a lot of this shit, man, is so long ago that a lot of it I barely remember, man. I barely remember it. Let's see what else we got here. Let me see what else we got here. Bunch of shit, man. Just because, like I said, we used to go quite a few places as well. Because, you know, like the Dr. Umar seminar and shit like that, that's not some tape that I got. I mean, I actually filmed that shit there at the seminar. I had a couple cameras set up, you know, with different angles and shit. You know, they let me come in there with all my camera equipment and all that shit. And I had a couple angles set up, and I actually taped that while I was there. Interviewed Dr. Umar there as well, live. Here's an interesting one. Here's an interesting one for y'all. Here's an interesting one. I'm gonna try to keep it to the interesting shit, y'all. I'm gonna try to keep it to the interesting shit. This one, I think y'all, you might know this one if you're from up north. Let's see. Shit. This one y'all might remember. This one you might remember. You might remember it, Negroes. All right. You see this this logo here. This is the logo of the radio station that I used to work for. It was called Nubia Hood Radio. And that particular night, I was interviewing a lady named Carol Holloman Horn. Now, those of you who may not know who Carol Holloman Horn is, Carol Holloman Horn was a Buffalo City police officer, and they were arresting a suspect, and a white cop was strangling a black suspect, and she actually stopped this other cop from brutalizing this brother. And when she stopped the cop turned around and punched her in the mouth and knocked out some of her teeth. Yeah, so she was one of the original, you know, not about that abuse shit cops. One of the originals, because this happened many, many years before I spoke to her. and she was fighting with the Buffalo City Police because when that happened, she had been on the force already for like 20 years, and they fired her saying that she went out of police policy or some old nonsense and tried to keep her from getting her pension. I think within the last 3 years, after all of that time, she finally won and got her pension. Yes. Look that name up. Her name is Carol Holloman Horn. Interviewed her back in 2016. Very, very long time ago. Interviewed her back then. Let me see. What else is another good one? What else is another good one for y'all that I think y'all may like? Oh, here's a good one. Here's a good one. Let me see if y'all know this. Let me see if y'all know anything about this. Let me see if y'all know anything about this. You Negroes probably don't. And I don't say that to be condescending or, to try to make you Negroes feel bad. But y'all probably don't know about this. You probably don't know about this. This here is another interview I did at the radio station. And this is basically a recording of still working at Nubia Hood Radio. This was in March of 2016. And this particular show was called Sisters Slain by Killer Cops. Now, every person you see up here is a female that was murdered by the police. Now, during that time, right? Now, because that's only, I believe, 11 of the, I think, 25 women I profiled that particular night. All right? I talked about their story. I talked about how they got killed. All right? As you can see, as I filed through this, you can see woman after woman after woman. Right? Now, the main focus of the show that night was a girl named India Kager. Are y'all familiar with that name? Nope. Her name is India Kager. She was killed by Virginia Beach police. I believe that was in 2014 or 15, I believe. And she was killed by Virginia Beach police with her baby in the car. Now, this girl was a Navy veteran, no criminal record, nothing. Now, they came there because they had got a tip that her boyfriend was smuggling guns or something, which all proved to be not true. But they killed her, they killed him, and somehow all the bullets that they fired didn't hit the baby. Miraculously, the baby survived. And that night, I had her mother on the show, right? I had her mother. Her mother's name is Gina Best. That's her mother, right? And I also had another lady named Gerald Sanders, okay? Now, we did a whole show. I talked to them, for like an hour. And they came on and they went off. And, Gina Best spoke. Gerald Sanders spoke. And, they talked about this whole thing. They talked about India Kager's case and all that kind of stuff. And then after they went off, I kind of continued talking about the other women that had been killed. And here's another little one that I've always kept photos of and always thought of. This child here, her name is Ayanna Stanley. Ayanna Stanley was killed in Detroit. And she got killed by the police in Detroit because they broke into her grandmother's house, shot her in the head while she laid asleep on a couch. And the police claimed that they scuffled with the grandmother, and that's how she ended up shot. But here's the thing. The house they kicked the door into was the wrong house. They were at the wrong fucking address. And actually, that night, a crew from A&E was there, because you know how they do those cop shows that they film. I don't know if it was the First 48 or something like that, but a TV crew was there filming them make this crucial mistake and kill this baby. Yeah. Her name is Ayanna Stanley. Look her up. She was 7 years old, and she was killed by the police because they were at the wrong fucking address. But like I said, I mean, back in those days, that's kind of all we did. I mean, that's probably why I don't do as much of it now. Because, man, if you go back, man, you go back 6, 7, 8 years, man, this is all T.P.O.T. did. Police killings, bullshit shootings of children, violence, murders, innocent bystanders getting shot. That was like our wheelhouse, man. All of that was in our wheelhouse. That is pretty much all we did for the most part. We did more of that than we did anything. And we did a lot of it. We did a lot of it. Because I would make a video about it, and I also would have it on the radio station. So, like I said, that was quote unquote our thing back then. It's all we talked about. We were always at a rally somewhere taping. We were always at a demonstration. We used to be at those Black Lives Matters demonstrations. We used to be at the rallies. I was at the freaking Trayvon Martin rally. I was at Eric Garner's rally. Michael Brown. All right? Kamani Gray. Jonathan Farrell. I was there live. Yeah, live. With all my camera shit. And like I said, T.P.O.T. actually used to be T.P.O.T. Media Group. Because it wasn't always just me. Like I told y'all earlier about my little man Shorty. He's been recording shit for me ever since he was about 5 years old. I mean, he's a big old rusty dude now. Shit, he's bigger than me. And I had many other people, man. You know, I had, when I was in the booth, I had Lady Self-Made, Teacher Tanisha, Jasmine. I mean, even my wife sat in the booth with me a couple times. Actually did a show by herself one time in the booth. Self-Made actually covered for me a time or two when I was out of town. She did the show. And I just called in one time because, you know, I was all the way in New York. And she actually did the show. Brother Marcus. Oh, man, Brother Marcus, man, is a good dude, man. He's a good dude. I mean, all those people were part of the T.P.O.T. team, man. You know, I mean, all those people were a part of it. It wasn't always just me. I mean, it's pretty much just me now. I mean, every now and then, Teach does still do voiceovers for me and stuff like that. When I ask her, you know, I can easily, because a lot of those cuts y'all hear on the videos and the music and shit like that, you know, that's me. That's voiceovers I'm using from my wife and from Teach. That's where they come from. The female voices. When you hear female voices, it's either my wife or Teacher Tanisha, you know? And I get them to do it, and I don't even pay them, y'all. I don't even pay them. I get it on them. I get it on the free, y'all. Yeah, I get it on the free voiceovers. But yeah, man, T.P.O.T. has come a long way. It has come a long way, because like I said, man, when I started out with a little tiny camera that my wife bought me. I mean, nothing. I mean, you was to see now, man, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 different computers and a digital library. Multiple fucking cameras. I mean, my first camera was like big. I mean, it was like a big ass fucking camera, and I still have it too. I still have it. I'm probably gonna get buried with it. My first big digital camera with that with the 50 times zoom on it. I'll never forget. It's a Panasonic, right? That was my first like big commercial camera. I mean, the cameras I use now, they do way more stuff than that camera, but they're a lot smaller. I mean, they are a lot smaller. So like I said, man, I mean, T.P.O.T., man, has come a long way, folk. A long way. You know, like I said, the first camera I had, man, that camera was like big as hell, digital, but it was big. I mean, I use this camera now because I got a Nikon and I got something else. I call this camera Big Daddy Black. Now, this isn't a Canon. This isn't a Nikon. This isn't of any of that. This is actually an HP camera. All right? This is an HP camera. This is a D3000. This fucking camera does everything. The only thing it doesn't have is Wi-Fi capabilities. Everything else it does. Anything you could possibly imagine, this camera does. It has infrared. It has multiple settings. It has transitions. You can edit with it. If I wanted to, I could literally edit videos with this camera. If I didn't have this computer and shit, all these computers and screens and shit, if I didn't have any of that shit, I could literally put information on a card, put it in this camera, and edit it. This camera literally does every fucking thing. And here lately, I barely use it. You see the motherfucker kind of dusty. I barely use it, man. I barely use it. Because I don't really need it. Because, see, I'm not out, I'm not out in the field, per se, like I used to be. I mean, I used to be, like, out in the field and shit all the time. You know, it'd be me and everybody else. We'd go to events and shit like that and rallies and shit like that. I mean, I don't do that kind of stuff anymore. Haven't done it in years. So I barely use the camera, man. It just fucking hangs here on the fucking wall. But this fucking camera does everything. The only thing this camera does not have is Wi-Fi capability. Every fucking thing else it has. If it's pitch motherfucking dark, it don't even matter. This motherfucker has infrared. Yeah. So I could be standing in the pitch dark, have this fucking camera on. I can see your ass, but you wouldn't be able to see me. Yeah. This This camera served me well, man. And I've had it. You know, I've had it a few years and haven't had to replace it. I got another one. I got a Nikon that's similar to this, but it doesn't do the shit that this camera does. And of course, I can take this camera, I can hook it to my fucking computer, you know, because it's got all the 1080 shit. And I can hook it up to my computer and I can use it just like I use my webcam here. Because I got this camera here is 1080. And this is a separate camera. That's not the camera that I'm using, isn't the camera that comes with the fucking laptop. You know, this is a second camera because I got like 3 of them. You know, but this camera is the best. All right. And I could do shit with it too. I just don't. I just kind of let it sit on my fucking laptop. I don't fuck with it or adjust the settings or none of that shit. But this is one that I've recently fucking replaced because my other one fucked up. So I had to swap that out and put this one up there. But yeah. I mean, that's in a nutshell is what T.P.O.T. is, man. And like I said, man, this little girl that y'all see behind me, man, she sparked all this shit. She sparked all of it, man. She started it all. And like I said, once we started talking about her case, we got into all the shit that I showed y'all a little while ago. We started talking about the violence. We started talking about the killings and the police shootings and all that kind of shit. It was all because of her. She kick-started it. She kick-started all of this shit. That's why every so often, man, you hear me talk about Hadiya Pendleton. Because more than likely, man, if this hadn't happened to her, there wouldn't be no T.P.O.T. Probably wouldn't be no T.P.O.T. Because I don't know what it was, but I mean, when I read the story, man, about this child, man, it just, it fucked with me. You know? And my wife, she was like, oh, you should talk about this, you should talk about this stuff. And like I said, man, if it wasn't for this girl here, probably wouldn't be no fucking T.P.O.T, man. This is what kicked it all off. This is what got it all started. Now, of course, T.P.O.T has evolved into other shit now. We do all this other shit, debates. Negroes up here acting a damn fool from time to time. We still do interviews. Of course, we'll probably be doing those as long as we do this. But there are 21 different series on this channel. 21. All right? There's 21 different series on this channel. 21. And I've always prided myself on the amount of people that have been here. The amount of different personalities that have come through here. I mean, that stuff I'm proud of. That stuff I'm proud of. I'm always going to be proud of it. Regardless of anything else, I'm always going to be proud of the amount of people who have partaken in T.P.O.T. These are the series. This is why I always try to control how people address me because people have a tendency to think my name is Teapot. My name is not Teapot, you freaking Negroes. My name is Xavier. The name of this channel is the Prophet of Thought series. So actually, your Negro should be saying Teapots, T.P.O.T.S. And the reason why it's called the Prophet of Thought series because there's 6, 12, 18, 21 different series on this channel. 100 videos inside the Dark Exodus series. You got the Teacher Tanisha series, the Unapologetically Man series, the X-Tube series, the Unicorn 4 series, the X Explains series, the Hours of Power series, the Old Mama series, one of my favorites, the T.P.O.T. Debates series, the League series, the Jay Shine series, the Obsidian versus the World series, the Most Unprotected series, the Ask the Doc series, T.P.O.T.'s Ranks and Roast series, the Sir Tice series, the Reckoning series, the What About series, the Ridiculous Race Game series, and the T.P.O.T. Investigates series. So actually it's 20, not 21, y'all. It's 20. 20. Because the like videos, they don't count. That's why I say when it comes to like these debates and stuff, man, I mean, some of them are not even entered in here. These are just the ones that I put in these series. I'd actually have to go through all my stuff to kind of find out, you know, what's what and put them in here. I got like 197 debates, man. I don't think anybody on this side of YouTube has as many debates logged in as I do. All right? That is why I took sort of an issue with Brother Trey the other night when he talked about what I do far as children are concerned. Because as you can see, I have the Old Mama series. There's 29 videos in there alone. Y'all already know what that series is about. There's 29 series there. 29 videos in that series alone. The Most Unprotected series. There's another 5 videos in there. And all of those videos talk about shit that has happened to children. And I believe inside of the Reckoning series, there's shit that has happened to children as well. And also in the What About series. So, when it comes to the amount of things I talk about that are child related, I would venture to say I'm one person who has probably more than most of the people that travel in the same circles as I do. I'm pretty sure I do. I'm pretty sure I do. And I also believe that a lot of the people that have been on my show have not been on many other people's shows. I don't think that there's too many people who have been able to put the people together that I have been able to put together. Because I've had many people on here, man. I've had a plethora of people. There's not too many people that have been on that have not been on T.P.O.T. of note that you can think of. because I remember a while back, Brother Samuels, for instance, shout out to Brother Samuels. Somebody asked me a long time ago, this was like right when Brother Samuels started to get big. And they was like, oh, man, I bet you can't get Kevin Samuels on your show. And I did this right here. This what I did, y'all. I did this right here. Hold on, let me take this down. Let me take this down. Let me take that down. I did this right here, right? Like I said, they said to me, they said, X, I bet you can't get Kevin Samuels on your show. And I just did this right here. Pulled it up. Did this here. Right? This right here. Hit this. All right? And did this. Because, Negroes don't believe anything, right? They don't believe anything. Even when you show them, they still don't believe it, right? And I just did this shit here. And there's Brother Samuels. 2018. Before the music, before the million subs, before the attention. Just me. And Brother Samuels chopping it up. That was me back then when I had, I wore my dreads in like these long braids. I don't wear them like that now, but I wore them in like these long braids. And I used to have the big fucking poster behind me. And yeah. Back then. And this is many appearances. One of many appearances that Brother Samuels made on my channel. Way before then. Way back then. Yeah. Him and many others. Him and many, many others. Many, many others. And I'm proud of that, man. I'm proud of the people who have been here. I'm proud of the fact that so many people were willing to come here. Come here and talk. Come here and mix it up. Come here and speak their piece. Come here and try to get their message out. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the fact that so many of you have been through here. I would have never thought of it when I first started this page, when I first started this whole T.P.O.T. thing. I never imagined it getting to where it's gotten now. I would have never imagined talking to people like Shahrazad Ali, people like Dr. Umar, people like Dr. T.H.P. Johnson. 'Cause yeah, the good doctor's been here too. I would have never thought of talking to people like that. I would have never thought of talking to so many of you. I mean, 'cause when I came here, folk, I didn't come to get famous. I mean, I just didn't. I didn't come for money. 'Cause I always believed in working for mine. That's something I've always done. That's something I'll probably always do till my ass is dead. I didn't come for fame. I didn't come for any of that. I came to get up here, man, and talk about the things that I thought about and chop it down with the brothers, man. All the other stuff just kind of evolved on its own. The interviews, the rallies, the panels, if you will. Back in the days of Google Hangouts. Brothers that you never see together now. I have old videos of all those guys together. I have videos of Black Ram, Obsidian, O'Shea, Kevin Samuels, Angry Man, all in one place, one night. All in one place, one night. Multiple videos. I got videos with BGS and Black Ram and LAR. People like that together. One night. One place. Talking shit. I would have 9 and 10 brothers like that. It was nothing to come to my show and see Info Man, Gab Talk, Angry Man, LAR, Black Ram. All of those people, all of those heavy hitter, well-known names in one place at one time. But that wasn't odd back then because you could find all those names in one place back then. That was before the debates and all that kind of stuff. It was literally what it was called, a hangout. Just a bunch of Negroes hanging out online. I would have never thought it would have got to where it got to, man. I never even thought of doing this stuff as long as I've been doing it, to be honest. I mean, this year will be 7 years in November. Because I didn't start my YouTube page until like the end of November, middle of November of 2015. 7 years. I would have never thought of it. I would have never thought I'd be doing it this long. And I've enjoyed it, man. And I've met a lot of people, interacted with a lot of people, met a lot of good brothers. Now, mind you, I've interacted with some real fucking people that I wish I had never interacted with ever, of course. There's no way to avoid that. But that's all part of it, right? When you deal with this kind of stuff, man, you got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? And the indifferent. Now, I don't regret it. I don't regret coming up here. I don't regret doing this. To be honest with you, I don't even regret certain people coming into my circle of influence. What I do regret, though, is not having the wherewithal to know enough to stay the fuck away from them. I regret that. Because anybody that entered my circle of influence, I allowed them there. I allowed whatever caused them to be there in the first place. I allowed it. So I can't be mad at these people. I can only be mad at myself. Because I always try to take stock, man, in what goes on with me. And if there are some regrettable instances, I'm pretty sure I had a lot to do with it. Because I allowed it to make its way into my personal space. Or should I say, my personal digital space. I had to have allowed it. Because anything that goes on with you of note, of consequence, if you will, we've allowed it to a certain degree. Even if we don't admit it. Because all it takes is a click of a mouse for this shit to just disappear. But a lot of times we can't do that, can we? We can't click that mouse. We can't click off of it. We have to stay. We're addicted to it. We're addicted to watching. And I think a lot of times we're addicted to creating material too. Because I don't think there's much difference between the people who get up here and make streams and make videos and create some of this shit. I don't think there's that big of a valley between the people who make the material and the people who just watch it. Because I'm pretty sure many of us who make material, we probably watch a lot of it too. But I don't think that everybody who watches it makes it. There's definitely more people watching than there are people making. But I say again, I don't think there's a lot of wiggle room in between that. People are addicted to watching this crap. We're addicted to having people watch it. Media's like that, man. Media's entertainment. Media, for all purposes, man, allows us to have a lot of psychological escapism. We get to escape from our lives for a little while. Or if you're somebody that's really heavy into it, a long while. And I think at times, man, it takes control of some of us. Not always in a good way. And y'all know me, I believe that, especially when it comes to black folks, that media has given us an avenue to live in the digital land of make-believe. Nothing has to be real. It can all be BS, and it doesn't even matter. And I know I'm guilty of that stuff myself. I don't just put it off on other people. I'm guilty of that shit myself too, y'all. Guilty of that shit myself. And with that, I'm kind of disappointed because it's a far cry from what was started because of this little girl here. It's a far cry from the reason why we started doing it in the first place. I know for me it is. What I do now is a far cry from what I was doing then. Now, I don't know if it's evolution. I don't know to call it change. I don't know if I should call it growth. I don't know what to call it. But it is somewhat different. I mean, it's somewhat similar, but now it's different. Especially when you talk about YouTube. Because, I mean, YouTube used to be what, man? YouTube was dogs playing the piano and your cat doing freaking backflips off the couch. Your friends doing something stupid in the backyard. A lizard riding a skateboard. You know, that's what it was. Wasn't that the crap that we do now? It wasn't. Wasn't a bunch of Negroes up here arguing all day, yelling and hooping and hollering and talking about people's kids and mamas and husbands and wives and parents. It was none of that. The boy, black folks done got their hand on something, boy. Something they can use to amplify their damn dysfunction. We get to hear from people, boy, that we would have never heard from in our damn lives. Would have never seen these people. We've never heard from these people. Wouldn't have known who they were, what they do, how they operate, how they think. We wouldn't have known any of that. We just wouldn't have. Without media. Y'all wouldn't know who the hell I was without media. I think in some instances, media has brought us together, but media has also torn apart some of the fabric of civility in people. And I don't think it can ever be restitched. I don't think it can be patched. I don't think it can be fixed. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I think media has made a lot of things worse. I mean, of course, it exhibits, you see things on media that kind of exhibits the best of some people. But God damn it, you see a lot of things on media that exhibits the worst of people too. Like I said, there's a lot of shit on media that we would have never saw, heard, nothing if it wasn't for it. If it wasn't for this shit, a lot of crap we wouldn't see. Wouldn't be indoctrinated with a lot of this nonsense. And you hear people talk about video games and violent movies and all this kind of stuff. I think media influences us more than that stuff. Because a lot of the stuff we see on media isn't actors. They're not actors. They're not performers. They're not celebrities. It's regular rank and file people like you and I. People that we sort of made celebrities with our follows and our subs and our support of these people. But I also think media is responsible for a lot of shit like this. Innocent kids being gunned down. Innocent kids living in a fucking war zone. I think media raised a lot of us. And it did a horrible job. Media became some of our pseudo parents. And like I said, it did a horrible job of raising us. It's turned some of us dysfunctional. It's turned some of us into some of the most uncivilized people on earth, especially when we're on it. But I wonder, man. I wonder if T.P.O.T. ever would have came into existence if it wasn't for this child here. I wonder if I would be sitting in front of this damn computer and camera and microphone and shit if it wasn't for this child here. She inspired this T.P.O.T. shit, man. I can't say that shit enough. I wish I could have got like her brother or her mom or somebody to come on here, but I couldn't, y'all. I tried. Somebody who could have came up here and told her story. Because I only know what I read. I didn't know her. But I knew what I saw. I knew what I heard. And by the time I heard her story, I had heard so many. Because I used to talk about them. Used to make videos about him. When this little girl got killed, I was like, this is just way too much. Because up until that point, there had been, some people killed under questionable circumstances. But it wasn't like this. It wasn't like this. It wasn't some innocent girl who wasn't doing nothing and shot in the fucking back. It was usually some Negro who was in a gang, shot dead by other gang members. Or it was a brother who was shot dead by the police. But like I said, when this girl was killed, I guess I just couldn't understand it at the time. Because they say the good die young, right? That's what they say. But just because they say it doesn't mean we have to fucking accept it. Because I wondered, what if this was my daughter? Not that she's out there doing all this kind of crazy mess and hanging out with these dudes that ain't gonna amount to shit. No, none of that. Just being somewhere. Shot dead. Because these Negroes are uncivilized. And I don't know what her parents are going through, her family is going through. I have no idea. But to have a young kid, man, with so much promise, a young kid that probably did more things in her 15 years of living than a lot of us have done in 30, 40 years of living. And have that child murdered, man. It's got to be tough. Especially when you know that your kid isn't out there doing drugs or slinging drugs or trying to get knocked up or around a bunch of stupid Negroes that's influencing them to do stupid stuff. Knowing all of that about your kid and to have your kid gunned down. I'm pretty sure it would bother the shit out of me. And like I said, that's what got it all started, man. That was the beginning of T.P.O.T. And it evolved into what you see now. Now, I don't know how long I'm going to continue doing this bullshit, this media shit, this YouTube shit. Won't be much longer, I'm sure. I don't have an exact date to put on it. I've talked to a couple people about it, but I just don't know how much longer I'm going to continue to do this shit. I do not know. But back to Hadiya Pendleton. It says here, the Obama Presidential Center, Winter Garden to bear Hadiya Pendleton's name. So I go ahead and play this. Damn, did I turn the audio on? Probably not. Just stupid. Just stupid. Go ahead and do this again. Nope, didn't have the audio on, y'all. Y'all wouldn't have been able to hear it. But it says here again, Obama's Presidential Center's Winter Garden to bear Hadiya Pendleton's name. Fair use. And of course, a fucking commercial is always first. And it's always like one of those 30-second commercials, right? It can't be like one of those 10 or 15-second commercials. It's always got to be one that's like 45 seconds. It's always 45 seconds of commercial. And for some reason, it always feels like 45 minutes for some reason. Okay, here we go.
Welcome back. We all remember this face and we all remember this story. 15-year-old Hadiya Pendleton was killed back in 2013, a victim of Chicago gun violence. Now her name will forever live on at the Obama Presidential Center.
In the winter of 2013, Hadiya Pendleton was shot and killed in a tragic shooting on the south side of Chicago.
It's been almost 9 years to the day when the 15-year-old honor student was killed near her school in Kenwood. She had just finished her final exams.
Hadiya's name means a gift from God. She had a way with people.
An innocent bystander, Hadiya was ripped from her mother and the rest of her family. She was a majorette who loved to dance. She just performed in the nation's capital for then President Barack Obama's second inauguration, 8 days before she was killed.
Her gift was really behind the baton and her unique way of twirling it. She was absolutely excited at the opportunity to perform at the inauguration.
Now Hadiya's legacy will forever live on.
And that's why I am so proud to announce the naming of the Hadiya Pendleton Winter Garden at the Obama Presidential Center. The Hadiya Pendleton Winter Garden will be a dazzling public space, full of freshness and light. It will offer a warm welcome to all of the forum's visitors. It will be a place to gather.
The Hadiya Pendleton Winter Garden will have an auditorium, creative rooms, and a broadcast and recording studio, and so much more.
When I learned that the Winter Garden would be named in honor of Hadiya, my heart just melted. I was at a loss for words because I knew people would be saying her name.
And there it is, man. There it is. And there it is. You know? Because I know this year, I know they did a bike ride in her name and they had a fair in her name, and she's already got one park already named after her. Now, none of this stuff brings the child back, but she goes down in history. Her name will be forever engraved at the Obama Presidential Library. That's a big deal. And maybe, just maybe, that'll give some degree of solace to their family, to her family. I think it's a good thing, a great thing that they're doing this. Because for once, an innocent person is being celebrated. Not some criminal, not some person on drugs, not somebody who was robbing a liquor store, but an innocent person is being celebrated. An innocent person is being honored. An innocent person is having something named after them. I think it's a great thing. Because she's the type of person that we should be naming things after, right? Instead of the fools who killed her, the police put a hot one in them. We marching for them. The type of people who would kill a kid like this. Those people don't deserve our loyalty. They don't deserve our protection. They don't deserve anything. They deserve to be the fuck from around us. Because like I said at the top of the stream, man, it's not a fair trade. People like little Hadiya Pendleton are gone. And we are left with the people who killed her. Hadiya Pendleton probably would have grew up and become somebody. The Negroes who killed her, we already know they wouldn't have amounted to anything. Now people are saying, oh, how you know that? I know that because they fucking killed her. If they hadn't killed her, they probably would have killed someone else. An old elderly person or a child. See, these are the people we try to celebrate. The people we think we can change. These 25, 30-year-old fucking idiots who run around shooting and going on. We're going to reform them. We're going to make them better people. We're going to change their mind and make them put their gun with the serial number scraped off of it up. Yeah, right. Those are not the people that black society needs to be looking out for. Because, see, those are the people who make black society more dangerous for the innocent people. No one cares about that. All they care about is, oh, well, you know, we all black. As if that fucking means something. What good is a person being black? What does that mean? What good is it when this black person makes it dangerous for other black people? We get on here and you hear people talk about, oh, y'all make it dangerous. Oh, y'all make it dangerous for black people. Y'all make it dangerous for black people. Do we make it more dangerous for black people than the motherfuckers who killed Hadiya Pendleton? Huh? Do we make it more dangerous than the motherfuckers who killed the 6-year-old in Chicago? The 7-year-old in Detroit? The 2-year-old in New York? Do we make it more dangerous than them by being on the microphone and saying things you fucking Negroes don't like? How come I never hear you people talking about how fucking dangerous those people make it for black people? Here we go again with this fucking online advocacy again. Oh, y'all make it dangerous for black people. That's funny. I haven't shot anyone. I haven't murdered anyone. I haven't shot a kid, an old lady, a baby. None of that. But somehow, we are more dangerous than the people who are out there doing it. Because we talk about it. You see how stupid that sounds? Who's the worst person? The person who murdered the 5-year-old? Or the person who talks about the person who murdered the 5-year-old? But if you let Negroes tell it, the person who talks about it is a worse person. Because, see, we're supposed to keep that a secret. Even though it's already on a fucking newsreel. And 9 million people have seen it already. Oh, keep that a secret. You know, besides those other 9 people that seen it. No one else. Just those 9 people who saw it on the news. That's the Negro ideology. Yeah, that's the Negro ideology. Oh, I know 10 million people have seen it already, but don't show it to anyone else. Don't discuss it amongst anyone else. Because only those 10 million people get to look at it. It's stupid. And that's the thing with this media shit. Media has allowed us to be stupid. It's allowed us to say a bunch of stupid shit, too. Not only shit that we don't believe, but shit that we don't mean. Just saying it. It's like we're all looking for these applause lines and shit. Everybody's looking for a fucking applause line. It's stupid. And at some point, man, we got to fucking get over it. Because the Hadiya Pendletons of the world, those are the people who are suffering for real. The innocent people. Because, see, I don't give a shit about people who aren't innocent, man. If you out there doing shit and putting your life on the line and your ass end up dead, hey, that's on you. That's on you. But when you're an innocent person, and you're not out there doing who knows what, you're just trying to live your life. And you end up dead by some person who has no regard for anyone, has no regard for people's space, no regard for people's property, no regard for people's lives, no regard for their own lives, no respect for their own lives, therefore having no respect for others. That's why people like the Hadiya Pendletons suffer. They make it dangerous for the Hadiya Pendletons of the world. But nobody cares. But they care if that person's white, though, don't they? A lot of times when I talk about Hadiya Pendleton, a lot of people don't even know who she is. But they know who she is if she had been killed by the police, if she had been killed by some white man or some white dudes. We'd all know who she was then, right? You always hear people say sex sells. So does fucking bigotry and racism. It's like that's the only thing we seek. We're so caught up on racism and shit that we totally forget about the Hadiya Pendletons of the world. Because a lot of black people that find themselves murdered, man, we already know that the majority of them are killed by other black people. There's no denying that. But a lot of the black people that end up murdered, man, the Hadiya Pendletons of the world, a lot of them are innocent. They're not in a gang. They're not out there robbing and stealing and doing drugs and getting high and fighting. A lot of these people, a lot of these black people are just innocent bystanders. A lot of these black people are kids. A lot of these black people are children. But we don't talk about the Hadiya Pendletons, do we? Because we don't care about them. We don't care about how they died. We don't care about why. We don't give a crap what caused it, what led up to it. We do not care. It's irrelevant to us. Especially when we know off top that the person who killed them looked just like them. So the Hadiya Pendletons of the world, they don't matter, right? They don't matter. They have to be killed by a white person to matter. They have to be killed by some police agency to matter. I don't know what's wrong with us sometimes. That's why I had to do this story tonight. Because I say again, I'm glad this child, her life is being recognized. She's being celebrated. Her name will be on a plaque somewhere. In a building that many people will see for years to come. And her story can be told. For once, an innocent person is being remembered. is being celebrated. And something of substance is being dedicated to them with their name on it. It's about goddamn time that kind of stuff starts happening. While we run around here and cry and march and hoop and holler for people who ain't gonna amount to shit. And guess what? It's not like what I showed y'all tonight was like broadcast all over the place. Absolutely not. I actually had to go and look for this stuff. Because we don't like to talk about it. We don't like to discuss the Hadiya Pendletons of the world, do we? We like to discuss all the people who've been killed by white folks. We like to discuss the people who've been killed by cops. We can care less when black folks kill other black folks. It's always been that way, right? The violence that goes on between black folks has always been acceptable. Everybody talks about proximity. Oh, everybody kills people who are within their proximity. So somehow that makes it right? The police got a long way to go, boy, to catch up with how many of us kill each other. The police will never catch up. We kill more of each other in the run of a year than the police can kill us in like 5 years, 4 years, 6 years. The police have a lot of catching up to do to catch up to us. But I guess we're like that. Why? Because, they're the police. They get paid to protect and serve. They need to be held to a higher standard. And I believe there's some truth to that. But I also believe, should we be held to a higher standard too? Should it be normal for us to kill each other? Should it be normal for the Hadiya Pendletons in the world to just be dead and no one care? No one marches. No one stands on City Hall. I just brought y'all a story not too long ago about a killing that no one cared about. Did I not? Did I not? Just brought y'all a story that no one cared about. No marches. No streets named after them. Nothing. Nothing. Not even a peep. Major news networks didn't even want to touch it. They want nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. Why? Because it's an acceptable killing. Right? It's an acceptable killing. It's acceptable violence. It's an acceptable killing. It's to be expected. Black folks killing other black folks. It's to be expected. So why do we bitch and moan when other people kill black people? Are we more dead? Are we more dead if the bullet that goes in our head comes from a white person gun? Are we more dead is what I want to know. Is it a different kind of death? Is it a more significant death? And if that's the case, when the bullet comes from a black person's gun, are we less dead? Is it a smoother death? Are we guaranteed to go to heaven from that death? Maybe that's why it doesn't bother us as much. That's why we don't get mad when the Hadiya Pendletons of the world are killed. Because we already know they're going to heaven because they were killed by another black person. Right? But if you're killed by a black person, by a white person, that's a torturous death. You will be in purgatory, Hades. That must be what it is. That must be what it is. When another black person kills you, you automatically go to heaven. That's why we don't care about it. When you're killed by other black folk, you automatically go to heaven. Straight to heaven you go when you're killed by a Negro. But if you're killed by a white person, right to hell with you. Maybe that's why we get so angry. That must be it. It's a different kind of dead. You're less dead when you're killed by a black person. More dead when killed by a white person. Y'all remember this story? The story that I brought you. Y'all remember? Do y'all remember this? Do you remember this? Hmm? Do you remember this? Were we outraged? Were we angry? Did we march? Did we say, oh my goodness, that innocent old black man beaten to death? That innocent old black man killed on the side of the road. While these kids stand around and laugh at it. As they walk away from it as if they hadn't done anything. Because remember, this was after. This was after they did this. You see this? That says 255. They beat James Lambert at 234. So this is after. And this, what I can see, this is them making fun of how he fell down. Look. Laughing. Laughing, boy. Man, you seen that old fella? He was like, oh. It's all a joke. All a laughing matter. Look at him at 255. See him standing there? The old lying ass mama. See this girl here in the fucking pink? She struck him more than anybody. No lying ass mama talking about she snuck out. Snuck out my ass. Does that look like somebody who's sneaking? Does that look like somebody who's outside when they ain't supposed to be? All of them. So all of these little fucking people just snuck out, huh? They all just snuck out that night. All at the same time. Snuck out and look. Walking around like they got all the time in the world. And here's her old black ass mama sitting up here lying her black ass off. And this is her. This is her. Fucking life ruined. Life ruined. Because the OG is dead. Life ruined. Ruined. This is her daughter. This is her daughter. One of the worst offenders. Her daughter. Look at her. Look at her. And I want y'all to hear once again what our old mama has to say. Let's hear it.
Bad influence. She probably just, didn't mean to do it.
The 73-year-old was walking along the 2100 block of Cecil B. Moore Avenue on June 24th when he was attacked just before 3 in the morning.
My daughter didn't tell her nothing like that. Never. Just like that going, it just, things been different. Because we ain't got that family no more like we used to have. I'm saying we used to be in the house and stuff like that as a family.
We used to be in the house as a family. This old mama lying her motherfucking ass off. She don't even know where that girl daddy is. May not even know who he is, let alone where he is. She's lying her fucking ass off. And I want y'all to hear this. This is what I want y'all to hear. This is what I want y'all to hear. Let's go back. Heard the excuses from a parent and lawyers speaking on the behalf of these suspected perpetrators.
I sat down for.
Notice the first thing comes out of her fucking mouth. I'm not a bad mom. Your daughter murdered a man. She's 14. Whatever she learned, it had to come from somewhere. And at that age, I would have to say it came from you, your old mama.
For an exclusive interview with Shira, the mother of 14-year-old Jamera Mosley, charged with third-degree murder and conspiracy charges for the traffic cone beating death of James Lambert Jr. Jamera's grandmother and family attorney Lonnie Fish were also present. Much of the attack was caught on surveillance video.
What do you say to some people who've looked at that video and they say, how could a good kid be capable of something like that, beating a 73-year-old man with a traffic cone to his death?
It's the other kids and,
Oh, it's the other kids. Now, mind you, the other kids didn't have a traffic cone in their hand. It was just her and another boy. 7 of them out there. Only 2 of them had the traffic cones in their hands. The other 5 did not, to their credit. But they are all part of this. They all were there. And you didn't see one of them fucking kids trying to stop what was going on. And I get it, it's the whole herd mentality and all that kind of shit, but I would venture to say that all of them fucking kids got the same kind of parents. Old mamas just like this, sitting up there fucking lying, making fucking excuses, not only for the kid, but for her fucking self. Because she knows she's failed this child. So instead of just owning the fucking failure and moving on, she needs to circumvent the failure. Because they dare not own the failure, right? Because let's face it, a lot of these old mamas have not accomplished crap in their life. And the only fucking accomplishment they have is having these kids. That is their fucking accomplishment. And they dare not admit to failing at that, right? They dare not admit to failing at it. These women know they failed these children. But see, I don't want to get into this too much because we're going to talk about this on Saturday night when we do the Does It Matter Who's Raising You stream. So I don't want to get too deep into it. But I just wanted y'all to see the type of people who raise the type of people who kill the Hadiya Pendletons of the world, who kill the James Lamberts of the world. These are the type of people that raise them. These idiot old mamas who don't give a damn about these children. They don't care how they're raised. They don't care how they're developed. They don't care about their education. They don't care about their supervision. They don't care about counseling them. They don't care about guiding them, instructing them. They don't care about it. And then when one of these young fools go off and kill somebody, stab somebody, shoot somebody, rob somebody, these old mamas sit up and make excuses for them. And make excuses for themselves at the same time. Oh, I'm not a bad mom. Your fucking daughter's out killing somebody 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry. Nope, you're not a bad mom. You're a fucking horrible mom. You old mama, you. You're beyond bad. You're horrible. And I say again, they just try to save face, circumventing the failure instead of just owning it. They know they failed these fucking children. They know they have. They failed them. They failed them when they was 4. So what do? Continue to practice the same tactics when they're 14, when they're 24, when they're 34. Even though those patterning practices failed when they were 4, they're still doing the same shit when they're 14. Doing the same shit when they're 24, when they're 34. These are the old mamas who got the 36-year-old motherfucker living in a cellar, telling you how she's a good mom. No. You're a failure, mom. Your failure is that 38-year-old motherfucker that lives in a cellar. That is your failure, mama. Even if you don't want to admit it, even if you don't want to own it. Your failure is the 38-year-old living in your cellar, mama.
Bad influence. She probably didn't mean to do it.
She didn't mean to do it. Let me ask the people in my chat, does this child look like she meant to do it to y'all?
73-year-old was walking along the 2100 block of Cecil B. Moore Avenue on June 24th when he was attacked just before 3 in the morning.
My daughter didn't take her nothing like that. Never. Just like that going, it just, things been different. Cause we ain't got that.
Did she look like she meant to do it to y'all? I don't know. Maybe I'm seeing something different.
Family no more, like we used to have. I'm saying we used to be in the house and stuff like that as a family. My mom disabled, so I'm going through a lot,
Notice, she go right to what's going on with her. Right to making excuses for herself. Oh, I'm going through a lot. I'm going through a lot. As if that excuses her daughter killing this 73-year-old G. It's not about the kid. It's about her. She doesn't want you to blame her for any of this. While she makes excuses for the kid. So it's nobody's fault, right? She's out at 3 o'clock in the morning killing the old man. It's not her fault. But it's also not mine being her mother. It's neither one of our faults. Y'all are making a big deal out of this. So what, that man's dead.
Think about this.
Why was it important for you to talk to us and to...
Because I feel like that's my daughter and I care. And like I said, she wasn't with me. She snuck out that night and snuck out that night and been with some bad friends.
Snuck out that night and been with some bad friends. This old mama lying. She's lying. Oh, one of my favorite chatters is here. Do you men over here ever hold men accountable for anything? Or is it just more of the same, non-accountability? There's not just women out here doing wrong. You're cherry picking. Well, feel free to come up and prove me wrong, lady, melanated vessel. You are welcome to come through whenever you want. My brother, Perfect Black, what's good with it, man? What's good with it, my brother? Yeah, come on up, lady melanated. Come on up, lady melanated. Let's discuss it. Because you've been on me for a while now, boy. You got a problem with me, lady. I mean, I don't know. Come on up. Come on up here and state your case. Put your case before the court, madam. Put your case before the court, madam. My Chi-Town brother is in the house, Brother Perfect Black. Brother Perfect Black, man, I'm actually glad you're here, man. We were actually talking about Hadiya Pendleton. Well, actually, we were talking about the Hadiya Pendletons of the world, actually. So I'm glad you're here, because I know you know who that is. That took place in your neck of the woods. I know you probably know more about the story than I do. So, Lady Melanated, are you coming? Are you coming up, lady? Because to be honest with you, Lady Melanated, when it comes to T.P.O.T., we don't just jump on women. I mean, at least I don't. I jump on a particular group. Usually these old mamas, Lady Melanated. And the word these is an adjective. I use it as an adjective because I'm talking about a particular type of mama. A particular type. I don't say all mamas or most mamas or the majority of mamas. No, I say these old mamas. They are a very particular group that I speak of. So to say that all I talk about over here is women is wrong, Lady Melanated. It's wrong. Wrong, Lady Melanated. It is wrong. But you got to know that. I've seen you here before. I know you watch my stuff. I believe I've invited you here to state your case. I want you to come up and state it. I do. I've seen you here before. You've commented before. I want you to state your case. I want you to come up here and prove me wrong, is what I want you to do. You're welcome. Come on up. Talk your stuff. I don't have a problem with that at all. Because like I said, I've seen you here before. There's the email. Go ahead, hit me with an email. I'll shoot you the link. Because I'm sure you want to come up here and tell me how I shouldn't be saying what I'm saying. I know that's what you want to do, Lady Melanated. I know you want to come up here and tell me I shouldn't be saying the things that I say. I know that's what you want to do. Like I said, I've seen you before. You don't like the fact that X says the shit X says. I know you don't like it. I know you don't. I know you don't. But that link isn't just up there for Lady Melanated. It's actually up there for anybody who wants to come up here and, talk it out. Y'all know it's Thursday night. Thursday nights we stay up late. And Saturdays too. Well, we'll stay up Wednesday too, depending on what's going on. But y'all know Thursday nights, we stay up late. We chop it down. We talk about these things. Or maybe Lady Melanated wants to come up and talk about Hadiya Pendleton. Am I wrong? Not just her, anybody. Am I wrong of my assessment of the whole Hadiya Pendleton thing? Am I wrong when I talk about the Hadiya Pendletons of the world? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? I don't think so. I didn't think I was wrong back when she was murdered. As I say again, if it wasn't for that girl, if it wasn't for that little girl, there probably wouldn't be a T.P.O.T. She kickstarted all of it. She made it so we wanted to talk about this stuff, that we wanted to cover this stuff. We wanted to talk to other people about it. We wanted to see it explained in pictures, in words, and music. It was all because of her. That's why I had to do this. I had to do this tonight. Especially once I found out, man, they were making a library. They were doing a wing in the Obama library for her, and she is immortal. Her name will be there long after most of us in this chat room are gone. And I say again, it's good to know that someone innocent that lost their lives is getting recognized. They're getting recognized for a change. Not some loser that we as black people want to stand up for because we think he was done wrong. Even though he got a rap sheet long as an elephant's trunk. Hadiya Pendleton was done wrong too. And there are many other Hadiya Pendletons out there who have been done wrong that we do not stand up for, that we do not celebrate, that we do not put flowers and release balloons and release white pigeons and wear T-shirts for, and that's what I'm talking about. Because there's more than one Hadiya Pendleton out there. More than one. In fact, let me show y'all this. Something that I keep handy. Something that I keep handy. Let me show y'all this. See these young folks behind me here? They too are Hadiya Pendletons. See Sequoia Turner here. Reuta Giles. Natalie Johnson. Natalie Wallace behind me. And Devin over my shoulder here. They're Hadiya Pendletons too. See all these babies here? You know what the average age of these babies are? 7. These kids are 6, 7, 8. All murdered. 4th of July weekend. Most of you out there probably don't even know who these kids are, do you? You have no idea who these babies are, do you? No idea. I know who they are, though. That's why I have their picture. And I'll always have it as long as I'm doing this YouTube shit. They're Hadiya Pendletons, too. Innocent babies just being babies. 5 and 6 years old. Not doing anything. Murdered. By fools who don't give a shit about babies' lives or old folks' lives or anybody's lives. Just shooting up parks, shooting up playgrounds, shooting up places where kids run and play. These babies had their whole lives ahead of them too. See any marches for them? See any parades for them? See any people walking around with RIP t-shirts for these babies? Absolutely not. See any legislation get signed into law for these babies? Absolutely not. And you won't. Because no one cares about them, right? Because the Negroes who murdered these babies, all of them are black. They weren't the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Brotherhood, you know, the white nationalists. No. The Negroes who killed these babies, they look just like you and me. Why you think you haven't heard of them? Many of you out there, this is probably the first time you seeing these babies' faces. Right? Right? First time you seeing these babies' faces. You have no idea who these kids are. And little baby Natalie Wallace here, I had her father on. I think it was about 60 days after she was killed. Her father was here. Yeah, he was here. Because, you know, we do that here too. You know, talk to the parents of people who have been murdered. We do that here too. And not just the parents of people who've been murdered by crazy Negroes. We also talk to the parents of people who've been murdered by the police. This is what we do here. Why you think I don't listen to Negroes bullshit when it comes to T.P.O.T.? We do a plethora of things here. T.P.O.T. is no one-trick pony. We do all kinds of things. All kinds of things. But when I look at these little ones, it bothers me that no one cares that they've been killed. No one cares. No one cares. Well, like I said, if anybody wants to come up, I don't know if Lady Melanated is still out there. You want to come up, Lady Melanated, you know what to do. Like I said, I've seen you around here. I know you got a problem with old ex. So you might as well come on up here and settle it and get it over with. But maybe you don't. She ain't coming up here. She's not coming up here. Not coming. But you're invited. I told you before. I think I told you a few days back. Hit me up. Email me. I read your message on one of my posts. I read your message. And I think I invited you then. You can always come up here and prove me wrong or whatever you want to do. Trust me. I'll be right here on the T.P.O.T. YouTube page. I'll be here. But yeah, it don't look like nobody's coming up. Don't nobody want to do nothing. Don't nobody want to do nothing. But I say again, all the time that we as people, man, spend on BS. If we spent a little less time on the BS and a little more time, man, focusing on what causes, not just the fools like this who killed this child, because those two dudes you see, guess what? Those are the two dudes who killed this girl. All right? They killed her. She's gone. They're still here. She probably would have grown up to be somebody. They would have grown up to be nothing. See? They wouldn't have amounted to anything. They wouldn't have. I don't care what you tell me. Because like I said, if they hadn't killed her, they would have killed somebody else. And now you, the people of Illinois, are stuck paying for them to live. Because they're in prison. One's doing 84 years, the other one's doing 42. You're supporting them. Your tax dollars are supporting them. Let that swirl around in your brain for a while. You lose this kid who had potential. She's dead. They're alive. Being supported by your money. If that don't make you mad, I don't know what does. That don't make you mad, I don't know what does. It would damn sure piss me off. I'm pissed off about it, and I don't even live in Illinois. I was pissed off about it when I lived in New York. Especially when it took a while for them Negroes to get locked up. because the guy who drove the getaway car, he just got convicted, I believe, last year. She was killed in 2013. And I'm glad that Negro was stupid enough to defend himself. Because if he'd have got a decent enough lawyer, he might have got off or did less time. I'm glad he was stupid enough to defend himself. I'm glad he was. 42 years, he'd be like in his 60s when he get out. Be in his 60s when he get out. The other brother, he probably won't ever get out. 84 years, he probably won't ever get out. Even if they chop off a third of it. They need to die there. They need to die there. And I'm not a person who believes in vengeance like that. But guess what, man? You somebody running around killing innocent folks, man. I don't give a shit about you. I don't care who you are. The police, some gang person, even if you some teenage kid, and you running around here killing innocent people, I don't give a shit what happened to you. I don't care what happens to you. Because guess what? You don't care about nobody else. You don't care about nobody's life. You ain't got respect for anybody's humanity. You a goddamn animal. You basically kill somebody for no damn reason. Why should we have mercy on you? For what? You didn't give a shit about that person. You didn't even know them. But you killed them. And we'll sit back and say, oh, everybody deserves a second chance. What do you mean a second chance? A second chance to kill some other innocent person? Wasn't like it was an accident. You slipped up and accidentally murdered someone for no reason at all. And we should have mercy on you, right? We should give you a second chance. Even though you took the life of an innocent person. I don't believe in that shit. Even if your ass is a juvenile. Like those kids who killed James Lambert in North Philly. I don't have no mercy on them. Like I said before, you want to be out doing adult criminal shit? You get charged as an adult, go through an adult trial, do adult crime, do adult time. You want to run around and do adult criminal shit, get charged like a damn adult, go through an adult criminal trial, do adult criminal time. That's where I'm at. It's like I said, it's people like that that make it dangerous for the Hadiya Pendletons of the world. It's people like that that make it so the Hadiya Pendletons of the world can't walk the streets, can't go to the store, can't be in the park, can't live their lives. They're fucking prisoners. Can't go outside. Because these fools are out there. Robbing, stealing, burglarizing, carjacking, killing. What about them? As a lot of these damn places have these coddle the criminal ordinances, coddle the criminal rules. What about the people they hurt? What about the people they rob? What about the people they steal from? The people they stab, the people they shoot, the people they murder? What about them? I know we can't bring the Hadiya Pendletons of the world back. I know we can't bring them back. But when those fools who have took them away are caught, they should be put in somewhere and never be able to come back. They should never be able to walk in that park where they killed that girl. Her family members should never have to walk down those streets and have to worry about seeing those people again. They should never have an opportunity to kill another Hadiya Pendleton again. They should never be able to enjoy the freedom that the rest of us enjoy again. They chose their destiny. They should be allowed to live it out. But I think we're going to go ahead, man, and wrap up. Doesn't look like my detractor will come up tonight, maybe some other night. So I might as well go ahead and hit y'all in the head with T.P.O.T.'s programming notes. Yeah. Yeah, it's time for programming notes, man, because we got one more show coming down the pipe this week, finishing the week off. One more show to finish the week off, because tomorrow we ask the question, does it matter who's raising you? That's right. That's why I didn't want to get too into the old mama, because I'm going to be kind of using that amongst other things tomorrow to talk about who is raising you. Does it matter who's raising you? I know a lot of people believe that it doesn't. And you people who believe that are fools. If you don't understand that your rearing has a lot to do with who you turn out to be, you're just a fool. Now, I know there's a lot of people who say, well, I know somebody who their mother smoked crack laced heroin. And they grew up to be an astronaut. Yeah. That's called an outlier. Just like a person can have a decent nuclear family and still grow up to be a robber, thief, drug addict. But they're usually outliers too. It's another thing we got to stop doing as black folks, man. We got to stop basing our fucking arguments off of the exception, man. We take a damn exception and run with it like it's a damn football. Okay, you know that one person, their mama smoked crack-laced heroin and they became a astrophysicist. Name me 9 more. Shit, name me 5 more. Exactly. But I bet you can name me a whole hell of a lot of freaking people who mama used to smoke crack-laced heroin that ended up in jail, on drugs, or in the fucking ground. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it on Saturday. And anybody that wants to take part, you know what to do. Hit me up in my email. You know what it is. It's propertothought@yahoo.com. It's propertothought, one word, no caps, @yahoo.com. Yeah, we're gonna get at it on Saturday. And Lady Melanated, if you're still listening, feel free to come through Saturday. Feel free, Lady Melanated, to come through and say your stuff. You have an open invitation, Lady Melanated. But Jay, if you want to come through, man, just hit me up and we'll throw down Saturday night. Now, y'all know we jump off Saturday night early, okay? 8 p.m. Eastern time. All right? All right. So, I think we're going to go ahead, man, and wrap it up. Don't look like nobody's coming through. But before we go, man, I have to say this. Like I said, man, all night. This young lady here, man, she basically jumped off T.P.O.T. If I hadn't heard about her story, y'all probably wouldn't even be seeing me right now. None of this would have happened. You wouldn't see none of this bullshit I got in here in this little makeshift studio I got. You wouldn't see none of this shit. Who knows? I probably wouldn't have had a show on Nubia Hood Radio when I was there. She kind of inspired it all, man. To be honest. Because like I said, she reminded me so much of my daughter, man. You know? I mean, my daughter, she's grown now. She's 24. If she had lived, she'd have been about the same age, 24, 25. I was talking to my daughter today. And they beat me out of money as normal. Her usual. Her usual. And I was telling her about it, And I know she was watching. But this young girl lost her life, man. She lost her life for no damn reason. For no reason except that Negroes is just foolish. Just foolish Negroes. Who have no sense of humanity. Yeah, brother, Perfect Black, I was reading about that. In June, they had like a day for her, like a bike ride and like a fair. Yeah, I was reading about it. I talked about it earlier. And I know you know this too, brother Perfect Black. Um, they're actually building inside of the Obama library. They're building something. They're building a wing in there named after her. It's the Hadiya Pendleton Garden Park. So, yeah, man, her name will live on. Her name will live on. But like I said, man, this young lady here, man, she basically freaking lit the fuse of T.P.O.T. And she's the reason why you see what you see now. Like I said, all the way from the days of my little man Shorty and Lady Self-Made and Jazz and Marcus and Teacher Tanisha and all the other people, man, who were part of this. Because if you go back in my archives, you'll see all these people, man. Because T.P.O.T. actually used to be a big old group. Wasn't just me, it's just me now. I'm the lone survivor now. Yeah, I'm the lone survivor. But it used to be a big old group of folks. Yeah, big old group of folks. Sure was. Had quite a few co-hosts, producer, digital engineer. Even had a New York City correspondent, too. Yeah, T.P.O.T. used to be a big old thing. Yeah, wear orange, brother Perfect Black. The whole wear orange thing. Yeah. Yeah, I read about it. Yeah, I read about it, brother Perfect Black. Yeah, I kind of stay on top of the stuff, man, that goes on, man, as far as, the stuff her mother and everybody else does, in her name, I've stayed abreast of it, I've stayed abreast of it, and I thank her. I thank this young lady, man. I do. She's the reason that T.P.O.T. exists. She's the reason. She's the reason, man. Her story got it all started. Her story got it all started. So I thank her. And I say rest in peace, young lady. Because T.P.O.T., we never forgot about you. We never forgot about you. And we never will. Because you didn't just inspire the Obamas and the building of the wing of the library. You didn't just inspire to wear orange and the fairs and the naming of things. Young lady, you inspired us. You inspired T.P.O.T. And that's the truth. But that's all. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight, man. As always, man, you could have spent your Thursday night anywhere. You decided to spend it here. And it is appreciated. Like I said, man, make sure y'all come through Saturday night, man, because we're going to be asking the question, does it matter who's raising you? does it matter who's raising you? Yeah, but once again, man, I appreciate all you good folk, man, for coming through, man, and spending some time with us, man, and let me bore you to death with the beginnings of T.P.O.T. and how it all started and all that kind of stuff. I appreciate y'all coming through, man. I do. I don't take you good folks lightly, man. I never have, and I never will. You got my word on that. All right? All right. So, with that, I will leave you good folks with 3 words. Like I always do. Open your mind. Peaceful. What about this? What about that?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What about that? What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this?
What about that? What about that? What about this?
What about that? 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 What about this? What about this? What about this? What about
What about that? What about this?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What about that? What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this?
What about that? What about that? What about this?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What about that? What about this? What about this? What about this?
What about this?
What about that? What about that? What about that? What about that?
Only from T.P.O.T. Media. Open